Hey folks, so today is Friday, March 1st. So we're about a week and a half in um, from the day I was diagnosed. Um, a lot of stuff has happened in that week. Went for an MRI. That that was kind of crazy. Um, get into that in a bit. I had a meeting with my doctor, which was super fulfilling, and sort of set my mind at ease, I guess, a little bit. Um, huge outpouring of support from my friends. And anybody watching this, you're one of them. Even just by watching this, I guess. Not I guess. Um, I mean, every like or share or message, every time someone knocks on the door, um, I mean, it's uh, it's all a bit overwhelming. It's all a bit humbling, um, but it lets me know that I'm not in this alone. Um, there's some friends, a friend of mine, Elena, who's been like my cancer agent since the day I was diagnosed. She put together a GoFundMe account or a GoFundMe campaign, um, and I mean the amount of support that was shown on that. I, I don't. I really don't have words. I don't think thank you, no matter how you spell it or how large you write it, um, is enough. Um, but anyway, so I'm just gonna get into a little bit of how this all came to be, I guess. So around October, this past, had some stomach issues. Um, this may get a little bit graphic. I'll do my best to keep the poop details to a minimum. But around October, I had some stomach troubles. I was feeling quite constipated. Um, I just took it as, some changes in my diet and maybe some stress. I had lost my job around that time. Had to apply for EI. Money was kind of unsure. So I put it up to that for about a month. And then November, I went to see a doctor. Um, Put me on a laxative. If anything changes, come see us. Went to see them again a couple more times. Oh, try this different laxative, try this different laxative. In hindsight, um, I I could see why they would do that. Certain laxatives work in different ways. Some of them suck water out of your body, put it into your waste, and make it come out like liquid. Some of it makes it kind of slippery so it comes out easily. Some of it just sort of relaxes your muscles. So, I mean, I guess at that point they were trying all of these things, as opposed to sending me for colonoscopy or, making a big deal of it. Because, I mean, at the time I was only 35. And why would there be anything more than just this guy's constipated? So fast forward to January, just in utter pain. There's something wrong. I could feel it. There was a blockage. Um, Nothing was coming out, no matter what I used. Um, so I went to the hospital one night. The hospital did some exams that made me feel a little uncomfortable. Um, I mean, kind of felt like the doctor was kind of there for a social call instead of a examination. But all for the better end. They booked an appointment for me to to get a colonoscopy. Um, that was supposed to be in the hospital. Apparently, wait times at the hospital are really long. So they said, if you want, you can go out and look at other clinics and see if they can refer you somewhere, or go to your doctor and see if he or she can refer you to a clinic that they know that might have a shorter wait time. So I did that, went to my doctor. They referred me to a clinic that does colonoscopies. Colonoscopy is pretty much a camera. It goes up your beehole, and it's pretty goddamn big. But you're out. You're not in a coma. Like, they don't put you out. You're awake-ish. You're just kind of sleeping a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, so I went for this, and this was the end of January. I went for this during the pre-op kind of thing, interview, the consultation. The surgeon, because people who do colonoscopies are essentially surgeons, asked for some family history. Told them about history of cancer in my family. Told them about how long this has been going on, etc. And so based on that, plus my age, they were a little bit worried. They didn't want to do the procedure in that office because it wasn't on site at a hospital. So at that point, the doctor was already kind of thinking the worst, I guess, or preparing for the worst. So they said, we'll book you another one at a hospital. All right, cool. So they did that. I got a letter and a phone call saying that this appointment would be in April. So we're at the beginning of February, and I'm going to have to wait until April to get this colonoscopy to start the recovery, or what I thought the recovery process was, from feeling this uncomfortable, from being so backed up. Because at this point, I wasn't even thinking about cancer. I thought the doctor was just sort of being overly cautious. So I'm worried now. April, Jesus. A couple weeks go by. We're into February. I put something on my Facebook about how uncomfortable I was and how this is horrible and how wonderful the Canadian healthcare system is, but wait times, I mean, for me in my position, this wait time was, it was rough. I was uncomfortable. And then a friend of mine, Elena, who we've been friends for nearly 20 years, she posted on this, she commented on my Facebook, "Joe, call me right fucking now. Have you forgotten what I do for a living?" She's a secretary for a gastrointestinal surgeon. So I gave her, I sent her a message, and she set up a colonoscopy for me within a week. So, I mean, Jesus, right? So instead of waiting 2.5 months, I wait a week. And I go and do the thing. It's kind of scary. Actually, it was quite scary. Hospital gowns, IV, first time ever being sedated as an adult, so first time having any procedure kind of like this. But I met the doctor beforehand. He was really nice. He was really, really confident. I was laying on the table. They injected a thing into my IV, and literally I fell asleep, like a really good sleep too, which was kind of crazy for what they were doing to me in my body. What they did, actually, they did a colonoscopy, so camera up the wahoo, and then they did an endoscopy. So they went through my mouth to look at my stomach and all of that stuff, and then they went through the other end to look at bowels, intestines, etc. And usually a colonoscopy, from my understanding, can take from a half an hour to an hour, hour and a half. This one took about 5 minutes. The doctor said, after I came out of the station and we talked, he said it only took about 5 minutes because there was no room in my colon to get the camera past the blockage. He said in his experience, 95% sure this is cancer and can't be operated on. There's still a few more tests that need to be run, etc., etc. I was still a little bit under sedation, so the penny hadn't really dropped that moment. Elena, who, again, what a superstar, she left work sick the previous day, came into work the next day, drove me home from that appointment on her lunch break. Amazing, right? So I was sitting there with that news, and then Facebook post came out. And then the next day, the Thursday, is when I did the first video. So what has happened since then? Had an MRI, big old magnet machine, looks at a localized area of your body, takes pictures internally, 360 degrees. They can look at it, manipulate it, blah, 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 but it's not a very broad area. They looked at my colon, and etc., to see the mass itself, see if any of it has gone through essentially the tube that it's in. Because the colon essentially has little vents. They're called lymph nodes, and if the tumor, if some of the cancer cells have gone through it, then that means it's kind of on the move, and it's going to other organs and other places. So that means it's likely to be inoperable without causing harm or without it spreading, etc. Got the info back yesterday that it is spreading lymph nodes so far, but I have a CT scan coming up this coming week. What they're going to do, they're going to look at a broader area of my torso, I guess, my abdomen, and look at my liver, because apparently the first place cancer goes from the colon is to the liver. So this is where you get the stages. If you got cancer and it's in your colon and it's just a mass and it's just staying there and it hasn't gone through the vents, the lymph nodes, then you're pretty much stage 1, and a lot of times it can be operated on specifically, or they can cut out the whole tube, take it out, and just reattach from what's left. And then you're good, out of the woods. If it's gone through the lymph nodes, then that's a little tougher. You're looking at radiation, etc., chemo, etc. So you're looking at stage 2, 3. And then if it actually has spread to another organ, then you're looking at stage 4. And so now you're looking at 2 different places where you gotta attack. You know, doctors kind of got to attack with radiation, chemo, etc. Expectancy, from my understanding, on a 5-year sort of 5-year life expectancy is about 95% first stage, so 1, 2-ish, 71% for 2, 3-ish, and about 17% for 3, 4 stage wise. But 5-year life expectancy, those are based on studies and test results, etc., from 5 years ago. Medicine is advancing daily, so those results are skewed. Plus, I'm young, I'm 36, relatively healthy aside from the obvious. So I don't know if those numbers really apply to me, but yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. The other crazy thing is, because I have this blockage, going to the washroom, processing any food is kind of tough because it's not coming out. I got a blockage in my exhaust pipe. So what they're gonna do this coming Thursday, they're gonna cut the tube that goes to your beehole, brings all the waste through there, and they're gonna kind of bring that through to my side, through the abdominal wall, so pretty much to the outside of my body. And they're going to use a flange, yeah, a flange, and they're going to hold it there, sew it up, and this flange is going to have an attachment where you can clip on a surgical bag, and I'm pretty much going to be pooping out my belly into a bag, which is going to have to be emptied out every now and again. That sounds pretty intense, but apparently about 175,000 people in Canada have these things. The odds are there's somebody you work with who has them, who has it. There's celebrities who are in movies that we watch all the time who actually have them, and you don't even notice, so it's not a thing. And the alternative to, the benefits of this is, at the moment I can't eat. I'll have 3 pieces of pizza, and I'm done eating for 2-3 days. And then that waste still has to get out, so I've got to use these laxatives which suck all the water out of me, which cause me to lose weight. It's very uncomfortable. It's horrible. I love to eat. I want a steak. I haven't had one in 4 months. I'm going to calm down about steak. Sushi, though, that's a different... Oh, fuck me, sushi. So, anyway, the process for the poo bag, colostomy, Thursday I'll go in the morning. They'll prep me for surgery. I'll do the surgery. I'll be out completely. I'll wake up with a piece of my intestine coming out of my stomach. I'll have a nurse who's going to show me how to deal with it, how to clean it, how to keep it secure, how to change it. And then they're going to teach me how to eat again. I can't really walk for the first day because obviously it's healing. And I'll probably be in the hospital 2, 3, maybe 4 days. I'll be back home after that, and then within a day or 2, should be able to eat whatever I want. So bring on the steak, bring on the sushi. You can knock on my door, just message first. Chicken wings, chocolate milk, Big Macs with like extra large fries and like all the mayonnaise packets. Anyway, so that's the next step. And then going from there, there'll be I'll be given a schedule of radiation, possibly chemo. We won't know about that until the CT scan comes back. I go for the CT scan on Tuesday. The CT scan on Tuesday. And then the colostomy surgery on Thursday. The results should be back early the following week. I'll have that appointment and I'll find out more what's going on. So that's where I'm at right now. That's all of the things. If anybody has any questions, I mean, for some people this might be interesting. And I mean, I'd love to tell you about the stuff. I mean, it is kind of interesting. What is involved in cancer? I mean, people talk about cancer and the battle, and it's always a sad, somber thing until they beat it, and then it's a hero's welcome, and that journey is forgotten about. And there's a lot of important things. There's a lot of small victories. There's a lot of small defeats. There's a lot of life-changing things that happen. And I don't know if anybody's curious. You can message me. You can put a comment below, and I can answer some of them in the coming videos. I want to do more videos. I want to do them more frequently. But I'm going to end this one here. It's almost 20 minutes. I'm going to end this with a huge thank you to everybody who's been with me through social media, everybody who's knocked on the door, my neighbors who have absolutely been amazing. I mean, the Wendover McDonald's Kingdom crew, Laura and the doctor, Kelly and Rich, Scott, my own personal cancer agent, Elena. I mean, like I said, the C block, my neighbors, Travis and TJ and Larry, Lynn, Ma, and my tag team partner, Rick. There's a bunch of other folks. I mean, Jay, who's been looking at running a benefit, such grandiose ideas because he knows about this. He's had friends who've gone through these things, and he knows how important this is. And I think he knows more than I'm ready to sort of see the reality of it. So I've been kind of standoffish, but his support is appreciated nonetheless. And I mean, I obviously, I want to end this video kind of soon, so I mean, I don't have time to thank every single person, but I mean, if you've liked anything on my social media, if you've reached out, if you've thought about reaching out, or even thought about liking something or sending me a message, you're in there too. The people who've donated on the GoFundMe, that, goddamn, that's really appreciated. The GoFundMe is kind of important because at the moment I am on EI. It runs out in September. The EI doesn't come with drug or health benefits. ODSP does provide that. But I mean, there are limits to what they provide. Colostomy products and supplies are quite expensive. I mean, I'm sure you can imagine a new bag, 2-3 times a day, plus these flanges, things, there's adhesive things to keep it clean. Cancer meds themselves, a lot of it's covered, but transportation, things like that. So anybody who has contributed or thought about doing it, amazing, thank you. It's so appreciated. Anybody who wants to and isn't able to, that's fine. Thank you for even thinking about it. I mean, sending me a message telling me to keep my head up, I mean, that's just as good. Sharing the GoFundMe link, I'm gonna post it below. I mean, that's just as good too. Just knowing that there's people out there who support me it's enough to make me sort of have that dumb, goofy smile while I'm making this video. Couple days away from having surgery to poop out of my stomach, and knowing the battle that I'm ahead of in those dark times. But right now, I'm okay. And reason for that, a big part of the reason for that, is the support that I have. And I really do appreciate it. From the tip of my biggest toe to the top of the skin on my head. So thank you all so much. I guess nothing else to say until next time. Thanks for helping me keep my head up. Cheers.